Okay, welcome to another reading of Lord Mayher. We're going to pick up where we left off in July of 1945. And Rosalie, you want to start the reading first?
Yeah. On Friday, 6 July 1945, Baba left with Kaka and Baidu on yet another must trip to Gulbarga. He contacted two musts, both men, one of whom was called Budi, old woman. This elderly must was so respected that he could travel all over the state by train free of charge. Another must named Goher Shah, a heavy drinker of toddy and spirits, was found and contacted in a toddy shop, his favorite place. 6 miles away from Gulbarga was the tiny village of Kandal, where Baba went to commune with a must named Appa Swami. The must led Baba to a temple for the meeting, whereupon he poignantly asked Baba, "Why are you silent? You should speak." This amused Baba. When Baba was ready to go, the must would not let go of him and held Baba next to him for 2 more hours. By then it was past evening, and they had to get back to Gulbarga. Exhausted, Baba was driven in a tonga, traversing the bumpy, pit-filled road. It was the monsoon season, and so dark that the road ahead could not be seen. Forming an advance party, Kaka and Baidu had to walk ahead carrying flashlights to light the way. I do remember reading this here. The next day, 7 July, Baba set out for Yadgiri. Some miles away in the village of Tumkur lived a God-conscious Jivan Mukta named Tiger Swani. And there's a footnote. Tiger Swami was also known as Ishwar Danu. Baba left for Tumkur to contact this great seventh plane saint. He began walking, but a severe pain developed in his chest, and it was difficult for him to go at a very fast pace. He was perspiring profusely, although there were showers along the way. They crossed a river, wading through knee-deep water to reach the village. The chest pain continued, and Baba's clothes were drenched with sweat and rain. Just before they arrived, the sun came out, and Baba stopped, removed his clothing, and laid it in the sun to dry before going on. Afterwards, he went to find Tiger Swami, who lived in a hut near a certain temple in the village. The instant he saw Baba, Tiger Swami embraced him with such fervor that Kaka and Baidu were astounded by the profound love he expressed towards Baba. Tiger Swami looked radiantly happy to see Baba. Age was wonderstruck at their meeting. What a rare meeting between the avatar, the eternal one, and the Jivan Mukta, a liberated incarnate. Meher Baba was the oceanized ocean, and Tiger Swami was the ocean oceanized. How can words describe the meeting between these two oceans? The language of the ocean is unintelligible to our ears. After some unseen give and take, Baba retraced his steps to Yadgiri. The chest pain now disappeared, and Baba seemed filled with renewed vigor. What duty he fulfilled by walking to Tumkur and contacting Tiger Swami is beyond our understanding. Just as an ant cannot measure the height of the Himalayas, we can never fathom the greatness of the work Baba was doing. During this period in Hyderabad, Rano asked Baba's permission to buy a new pair of glasses. Baba advised, buy the spectacles, but don't spend more than you absolutely have to. Ranu went to an optometrist, and after giving her an examination, he asked for a large fee. This was a dilemma, because Baba had told her specifically not to spend more than necessary. She told the doctor, look, don't charge me more because I am a Westerner and my old glasses are expensive. I have become poor and don't have much money. It surprised the man, as Westerners had never grudged paying his fees before. But Rano continued bartering and thus reducing the amount until finally she ended up paying only the cost of the new pair of glasses. Don had escorted her in the Tanga, and on the way back, he bought some toffees for the Mandali. He offered some to Rano, but she politely refused. When he persevered, she took a few, as she knew Margaret was fond of them. When they got back home, Rano went to her room and handed the sweets to Margaret. Baba almost never entered their room, but that day, for some reason, he suddenly appeared right at that moment. Rano tried to hide the toffee, but Baba asked what was in her hand. Toffee, she said. Why did you bring it? To give to Margaret. For Margaret and not for me? Baba asked with a pained expression on his face. I didn't buy it, Rano explained. Don gave it to me. How much has he bought and for whom? Asked Baba. 1 tin for the Mandali. Baba continued, go and bring it from Don and give it to me. Rano brought the tin and handed it to Baba. Baba then ordered her, if anyone ever gives you anything, give it to me. First, give it to me. Baba went to the Mandali and asked Don, do you bring something for the Mandali off and on? Don replied, no, not really. Only today I bought some coffee. Vishnu, however, did not accept it without your permission. The tin was kept by your chair until Rano took it away. Baba joked, using an idiomatic expression. These people, the Mandali, are sitting on my chest, bothering me. And if you continue giving them sweets, they will become fatter and really crush me. I want to make them as thin as air by beating and beating them. Baba then asked, do you know the story about Nilu and the box of sweets? Don did not, so Baba narrated. Nilu is very, very fond of sweets. He pines for them day and night. One day in Meherabad on April Fool's Day, I told Pilamai to fill a tin with cow dung and wrap it up like a gift. She did it quite well, and taking it, I went to the mandali. Nilu's mouth watered on seeing the parcel. I called him and told him how much I loved him, how dear and special he was to me. I said that he was to open the tin, keep half of the sweets for himself, and distribute the rest among the mandali. With a happy heart, he started to untie the package, but finding it full of cow dung, he was taken aback and his face went pale. I told him, if you turn white on seeing the contents of this, remember the whole world is like cow dung. When you realize it, your attachment to the world will pale. Just as you threw away the cow dung, you will one day say goodbye to this world and its affairs. Footnote. Afterwards, another basket full of sweets was brought and distributed. Baba narrated another incident about Nilu to Don. When Nilu first came to me, I inquired about him getting married. He wanted to marry, and if I had prevented him, it would not have been taken so well. So I made a plan and sent him accordingly with Kakubai and Shirinmai to Pune to see a nice girl. There, in fact, Shirinmai and Kakubai showed Nilu several girls. And it so happened that the girls he liked did not like him. And those he did not like, liked him. Thus, after his rambles, he returned to Meherabad and told me, Baba, I don't want to marry. I wanted him to say this, and it happened according to my plan as I turned my key. But if I had objected at the beginning, although he would have obeyed me, the desire to marry would still have been burning there. Baba asked Nilu, is this true or false? Nilu said, quite true. No one else in the world could have played such a perfect game. On Saturday, 21st July, 1945, Baba with Don, Erich, Baidu, Kaka, and Jal Kerawala left Hyderabad by train, headed south for Madras, where he eventually worked with 19 musts. Baidu found a must called Mohammed Mustan in a lane near Anderson Street. The must would continually tear up his clothes and then sew them back together again. Baba wished to contact him, and on the 24th, Erich and Baidu took the must inside a nearby office, which happened to be a bank. Erich spoke with the manager, explaining that his elder brother, Baba, wanted to be alone with Mustan for some time. Erich said he would greatly appreciate if you would allow him to use this room for a few minutes. The understanding official immediately agreed and ordered the cashiers, clerks, and the other staff to leave the premises. He too went outside, and Baba entered the bank and worked with Mohammed Mustan. This was a remarkable contact to work with a must in a bank where the employees were ordered to stop their work and go out to the street. Currency notes and checks were left lying on the table, unguarded, while the staff stood outside. How could unwitting people be so favorably impressed to permit such a thing? But to one such as Baba, no one was unfamiliar or unknown. Baba also worked with the spiritual charge man of Madras, Maulvi Sahib, a fiery Jalal Must, who appeared to be an elderly, unkempt, ill-tempered, overweight man, but was in fact the leading spiritual figure in the city. Baba was not completely satisfied with the contact because there were so many inquisitive spectators who would not go away. There were other memorable musts, such as Ram Swarup, who was completely naked and had absolutely no body consciousness. He lived in a cluster of neglected temples and would eat the worst of things. Baba fed him and stayed with him for an hour. One naked sadhu whom Baba encountered repeated over and over again the same thing. Sab Ham Khuda Hain, we are all God. Sab Ham Khuda Hain. A Mahabubi, androgynous type, Kadir Badshah, wore an array of bangles on his arms, unusual for a must. He was always in a happy mood. On his way to Hyderabad, Baba stopped at Raichur on 26 July, where the Mandali gathered 40 of the poorest destitutes, about 3 miles from the city. Keeping his identity secret, Baba washed their feet and bowed down to these 40 mostly beggars, many of whom were blind, and handed them each 3 rupees as prasad. After this work, he traveled on a bone-rattling 6-hour bus journey to Mahbubnagar, where he contacted an excellent must in a toddy shop. They returned to Hyderabad on the 29th. During this period, Don was still serving in the military hospital at Secunderabad, but would often cycle the 10 miles over to the Mandalis or Baba's bungalow to be with them during their stay in Hyderabad. Baba had given 2 black bull terrier puppies named Raja King and Rani Queen to Don to look after, and had told Don to bring them with him whenever he came. Margaret came down with a case of dysentery, and Don began coming more often to check on her. He would carry the puppies in a basket on his bike, but on the ride, they always seemed to find some way to jump out. Don had to stop, get off his bicycle, and catch them, and his exertions proved amusing entertainment for passerbys. Also, during this period, Baba would call the women Mandali from Meherabad in separate groups of 4. Each group stayed about a week and was then sent back. Margaret, Mera, Mani, and Meru continued to make use of the pool at the Jubilee Hills bungalow for recreation, a symbolic prelude to the diving into the ocean of their beloved. Age noted. Baba continued to work with local must in Hyderabad throughout August 1945. One day, Baba contacted a must called Nerudin, who despite being a heavy drinker of toddy, was an exceptionally good must.
Okay, thank you, Rosalie. Eva, would you like to pick up the reading?
Sure. On this occasion, while riding in a tonga with Baba, the must spotted a toddy shop and clearly indicated to Baba to make the driver stop so he could refresh himself with a couple of drinks. Baba treated him to his favorite spirit. Continuing on, riding through the streets of Hyderabad, Baba was seated beside Nuruddin in the tonga. Erich and Baidul were following in another tonga. At one spot, Baidul saw the must Raja Mastan alongside the road and beckoned to him. He was most unclean, wore a heavy, filthy turban, and held a bundle of broken bits of glass. On Baba's signal, Baidul helped the must to sit in his and Erich's tonga. Baidul held on to him as they drove slowly off, while a crowd of school children surged beside the tonga in a merry-go-round of fun and laughter, jeering and tugging at the must. Raja appeared to relish the focus of so much laughter and fun, and Baba too was delighted by the children. On Tuesday, 7 August 1945, Baba worked with the chargeman of Hyderabad, Syed Menuddin. Baba communed with him 3 times, but the last time, on the 7th, he had to wait for 3 hours before the saint would allow himself to be fed. Baba fed him a hearty meal with his own hands, but afterwards, Syed Menuddin asked for mincemeat and chapatis, which Baidul brought from a restaurant. The must did full justice to this, and then asked for barfi. He was given this too, and next demanded more cigarettes, which Baba also lovingly provided. Baba was very pleased with this contact. Again, on 8 August, Baba was out in the streets of the city doing must work. And on the 9th, he worked with the high must named Ghulam Hussain. These contacts were particularly significant in light of the fact that on 6 August 1945, the first atomic bomb was dropped by America on Hiroshima. And 3 days later, on the 9th, another atom bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. Both cities were devastated, and each suffered casualties estimated at 100,000 dead. Japan surrendered, and the victory was celebrated on Wednesday, 15 August 1945. Later that same day, Baba dictated these cryptic lines. I will die in October, in November to rise again. In December, I will kill all. All in February will life regain. Kaka privately expressed his doubts about this, which Ghani reported to Baba. So Baba dictated another rhyme. In October 45, in the abyss of death, I will dive. In November 45, I will again regain my life. In 45 December, I will kill all member. In February next year, I will resurrect all, don't fear. Baba declared in October, November, and December 1945, I will keep myself aloof, even from the women mandali, and do my spiritual work. Not long after Japan surrendered, their pet dog, Typhoon, died from internal injuries sustained in a fall from the upstairs terrace of the Jubilee Hills bungalow. Baba broached the subject of departing from Hyderabad and sent Vishnu to find bungalows near Mahabaleshwar. Their bungalows in Hyderabad had been leased only for 6 months, and in the first week of September, that period would expire. Baba's must work was also coming to an end, so he was preparing to leave. Ali Shah was brought back to Hyderabad for a third time on Thursday, 21 August 1945, and Baba worked with him in seclusion for 3 days. Although Ali Shah was a fifth plane Jamali must, Baba would have to work hard with him and would emerge from those sessions looking exhausted. Baba explained, I have to work extra hard with him because of his sleepy and sluggish temperament. Although the work was exhausting, the work done with and through Ali Shah was exceptional. On 31 August, Raja Dharam Karam by Hadur came to see Baba in Hyderabad with his 3 sons. He was a king of one of the princely states and had seen Baba in Hyderabad in 1938 when Baba was traveling on tour in the Blue Bus. At that time, there was talk of opening a center in Hyderabad, and the Maharaja was eager to help in the project. But Baba had left Hyderabad with the idea hanging in the air. This time, Dharam Karan did not broach the topic, but told Baba, I have come to dedicate at your feet my humble self and my family. Please satisfy us by making us your own. The Maharaja had not voiced his full request, though, and knowing this, Baba answered, I will help you spiritually and will have an eye on your ambition to become a minister in the government and see to the worldly welfare of your sons. Baba then emphasized, but remember, after becoming a minister, look upon the world as illusion, and God is the only reality. And remember, for the benefit of humanity, always be guided by my instructions. The Maharaja was deeply moved and, agreeing with Baba's words, left with his sons. World War II officially ended on 2 September when Japan signed a formal treaty of unconditional surrender. Narayan Maharaj had gone to Bangalore in August to participate in a large yagna, sacred fire ceremony being held there. Devotees from all over India had assembled for the special occasion, and Narayan gave his darshan to thousands. When informed of the Japanese surrender, Maharaj commented, the war is over, my work is finished. The following day, Monday, 3 September 1945, unexpectedly, Narayan Maharaj dropped his body at the age of 60. His body was cremated in Bangalore, and on the 5th, half his ashes were buried at his ashram in Kejagoan. The remainder of his ashes were taken to Benares and poured in the Ganges River. On the day that Narayan Maharaj dropped his body, Meher Baba was working with musts in Hyderabad. He would sometimes work with the same must several times. On that day, he contacted the exceptional must called Captain for the second and last time. Captain asked to be taken for a ride in Adi Sr.'s car, and Baba, Adi, and the must all got in. The must gave directions where to go, stopping first at a certain house and walking inside as if he owned the place. Next, he was driven to Secunderabad train station, and finally back to a particular shrine in Hyderabad where he was left. And here we have a picture of Narayan Maharaj. After receiving Baba's permission, Vishnu, with Kali Mama's help, arranged to secure a Nawab's bungalow in Pasami, 2 miles from the town of Way, near Mahabaleshwar. Baba and the women would be accommodated in the main house, and the men mandali in the servants' quarters outside the bungalow's compound wall. After this arrangement was made, Baba and the women mandali left Hyderabad on Thursday, 6 September 1945. Reaching Pune the next day, Baba and the women mandali settled in at Bindra House for 2 days. Gaimai was always overjoyed by Baba's presence and considered her house as his. Whenever Baba stayed at Bindra House with the women mandali, Papa Jesawala and his son Meherwan had to move to the garage. To avoid contact with the women mandali, Papa and Meherwan were strictly forbidden to enter the house and even had a commode put outside. But Baba would always see them there. Members of the men mandali who accompanied Baba, such as Erich or Baidu, had to reside in the garden. Baba went to Baba House to see his brother Behram, his wife Perrin, and their children. Perrin was pregnant and had been told she was carrying twins. Baba took Behram and will die. Then go taking my name continually.
Eva, just a second.
And don't worry, my Nazar is on you.
Eva, you were breaking up before. Maybe you should just go back to the beginning of that paragraph.
Oh, sure. Baba went to Baba House to see his brother Behram, his wife Perrin, and their children. Perrin was pregnant and had been told she was carrying twins. Baba told Behram, if the twins are born feet first, Perrin will die. This worried both terribly, but Baba assured Perrin, go on taking my name continually, wholeheartedly, and don't worry, my Nazar is on you. And next.
Okay, next reader. BJ, you want to read?
Yeah. Meetings and darshans. Remaining there for a while, Baba played with his nephew and niece, Sheru and Gulnar, and after cheering up Karim and Behram, returned to Bindra House. On the 8th, Baba departed for Pasarni with the woman, after a few days, he called all the remaining women mandali from Meherabad. While in Meherabad, Kitty was teaching English to Badul's daughter, Dawla, and Kaikobad's daughters, Gulu and Jalu. Dawla was fond of learning new songs, and after going to Vai with Baba's consent, Kitty began teaching her an English song to sing. One day, Baba was sitting with the women in Pasarni when they heard a strange sound. Where is that noise coming from? Baba asked. Is it the cry of donkey? When one of the women went to look, she found Kitty teaching a song to Dawla. Baba sent for both of them and asked, what on earth were you doing? Kitty bubbled. I was teaching Dawla to sing, we were singing. Well, your singing is very sweet, Baba teased. Were a donkey to hear it, it would feel ashamed. I thought it was the braying of an ass. The teacher is quite an expert, and so is her pupil. Go on singing loudly, both of you. Kitty burst out laughing and said, I only did it to satisfy Dawla's fancy. Yes, and you have satisfied mine as well, Baba replied. If something strange happens here, we will know where to look. For a man to imitate a donkey is difficult and takes years of practice. But you too can do it quite naturally. Baba then told them to continue with their music lesson, much to the amusement of all. On Wednesday, 12 September 1945, a circular was issued in which Baba's workers were informed that the meeting proposed to be held in December in Raipur was now postponed until the 1st of February 1946 due to the unavailability of bungalows in Raipur. In the circular, Baba also stated, the timely recent death of Shri Narayan Maharaj, the last of the five Sadgurus connected with my work, and my going away to some special far off place in India, away from the male and female mandali for 3 months, October, November, and December, are the leading destined signs of the fulfilling in the 1 month meeting, not only of all that has been promised to the signatories, but also the breaking of my silence and the long expected manifestation. Baba went to Meherabad from Pasarni on the 18th, leaving the woman only behind with Gustaji, Kaikobad, Krishna, Nilu, Narayan, Vishnu, and Venkobarao. A small cottage for Kaikobad had been built in lower Meherabad, at the front near the main road, and Baba slept there at night. Adi Senior's father, Khan Sahib Irani, had been ill and bedridden for the past several months. And so Baba went to see him at Khushru quarters on the 19th. Khan Sahib had always had great reverence for Baba, but no love now. Much to his wife Gulbai's delight, he felt genuinely drawn to Baba. Baba asked him, what do you wish for? Good health for 2 months and thereafter liberation, he said. Baba promised, do as I say for 2 months and I will definitely fulfill your wish. Baba gave him some instructions regarding personal matters and Khan Sahib was happy. He garlanded Baba and a photograph was taken of Baba, Gulmai and Khan Sahib. Before leaving, Baba took Adi and Gulmai aside and remarked, he will be relieved of his agonies in October. This was to be Khan Sahib's last meeting with Baba, and his last wish was fulfilled by Baba. Immersed in God's infinity 18 days later on Sunday, 7th October 1945, at noon, With Baba's name on his lips, he was 67 years old. A few days before Khan Sahib died, Adi was surprised to find flowers strewn on his bed when he went to sleep at night. The next night again his bed was covered with flowers. And the third night he waited and caught one of the servants in the act. He demanded to know who had instructed him to do such a thing. The servant told him that it was none other than the ailing Khan Sahib. Okay. Adi confronted his father the following morning and Khan Sahib admitted that he did it. But why, father? Asked Adi. All these years, said Khan Sahib, you had been telling me how great Meher Baba is. How he is like Zoroaster, our prophet. I did not believe you and tried to thwart you in your efforts to serve him. But now I know that you were right all along, and I ask your forgiveness. I wish to honor and worship your love for Baba. You and your mother were right. Adi Baba is God. And his father folded his hands to a picture of Baba kept on the wall opposite his bed. Adi burst out weeping and fell into his father's arms.
Okay, thanks, VJ. A little time left. Let me read a page or two.
Thank you.
Age 2 was touched by the scene. Although Khan Sahib opposed Meher Baba at the beginning, he became his at the end. Could the very man who gifted the sacred grounds of Meherabad to the master not be his? Because of this family's deep connection with the Avatar, Baba had chosen Meherabad as his own final resting place. Generations to come will honor Khan Sahib for his gift of love. Manohar Manayal Pandey, 35, a photographer in Abhinagar, had been in Baba's contact since 1932 through Khan Sahib. However, Baya, brother Pandey, as he was called, did not acknowledge Baba as the Avatar, although he had faith in him and was an occasional visitor. One day, Pandey hand-colored a black and white photograph of Baba and brought it to him. It was not painted well, but Baba praised it and raising his hand remarked, I have given it to you today. From then on, Pandey's skills gradually improved. Yet he still did not believe Baba to be the Ancient One. Once, when Baba came to Kushra quarters in 1945, he asked about Pandey. It was learned that he had been hospitalized and that his condition was serious. He had a ruptured appendix, and the doctor had lost all hope of saving his life. Baba sent a message to his family not to worry, and that night Pandey had a vision of Baba. He saw Baba standing by his bed, saying, Don't worry, my Nazar is on you. In his delirium, he began speaking with Baba. His mother, thinking he was about to die, brought the doctor. The doctor asked how he was feeling. Better, Pandey said. Meher Baba came, and I was talking with him. Yes, he came to me too, joked the doctor. The doctor took Pandey's pulse and was convinced he had only a few hours left in this world. But the next day, Pandey's health took a turn for the better, and after a few days, he completely recovered. Miraculous, conceded the doctor. I think there was something between you and Meher Baba. Weeping, Pandey bemoaned his previous attitude. How foolish I was not to believe in him. Meher Baba, forgive me. You are the Avatar. I bow down to you. From then on, Pandey accepted Baba and became his devoted follower, and also took many beautiful photographs of him throughout the years. At Meherabad, Baba arranged details of the Mandali's work there, visited Sata family at Akbar Press, and several times went to Pimpelgaon to inspect the construction work going on and to meet the servants. Kalamama had been instructed to enlarge the small cottage on the Pimpelgaon property. and to build a few storerooms for Baba and the women, as accommodations at present were not sufficient. Sidhu and Datu entertained Baba with singing for 3 hours on the night of Saturday, 22nd September 1945. And the next morning, Baba and Adi Sr. drove back to Pasami. Kakabaria was in Pasami, and Baba sent him to Bombay with a message for Erich, who until now had been staying in Pune. Baba cabled him to proceed to Bombay and meet Kaka there. Erich left for Bombay, and Kaka delivered Baba's message, which was for Erich to go to Darjeeling to find a place for Baba to sit in seclusion, somewhere in the Himalayas. On his way, he was to stop at Raipur and discuss the matter with Jal Kerawala. Erich accordingly left and met Jal, who had recently returned to Raipur from a place called Sihawa. He told Erich the place was ideal for Baba's seclusion. Erich cabled this to Baba, who endorsed Jal's suggestion and directed Erich to return. Erich then went to Pasami without going to Darjeeling. Preparations for Baba's seclusion began soon after. On Tuesday, October 2nd, 1945, Baba with Erich, Baidul, Ustaji, Kaka, and Pendu started for Raipur. Sarosh provided a car which Erich drove. They stopped first at Pune. At the end of September, Perrin was seriously ill, vomiting blood, and was admitted to the hospital. The doctors had sadly informed Behram that they were doing their best to save her, but they would not be able to save the twins. Behram thought, the savior is Baba. They remembered Baba fervently, and on 1st October, Perrin gave birth to 2 healthy boys. When Baba went to see Perrin in the hospital the following day, he named the boys Rustam and Sorab. Leaving Pune, Baba reached Raipur and stayed at Jal Kerawala's house, where he discussed with him arrangements for the seclusion in Siawa. Okay, it's 11:59. Let's stop the reading, and I will stop the recording.